Hello and welcome once again to another episode of the Kate and Eric Show podcast. This is just a jam-packed show. All kinds of things to get to today. There's just so much insanity in the world. But we'll get into. There's tons of stuff, tons of stuff to get to. But first, welcome to the show. Thank you very much to everybody who listens, all the repeat listeners, the continuing audience of the show. Thank you so much for continuing to listen, and it's great. It's amazing to see every week just where everybody is listening, so I appreciate it very, very much. And to all the new listeners, welcome to the show. So this show is right-wing politics, combating wokeism and leftist insanity. So, welcome. So we'll do a little sports, and then we'll get into the nitty-gritty and the fun stuff. It's great fun stuff. But first, you can follow me also on Facebook, X, TikTok, YouTube, and Truth Social, Kate and Eric Show on all of those. So you can go check that out, please. And like, subscribe, share, rate. 5 stars would be tremendous. It would be amazing. And then the algorithm will do its stuff and more people can see it. And it's great to see where everybody's from. There's about 9 different countries. Well over 100 cities in like 24 or 25 states. So it's pretty awesome. This is episode number 49. So 50 will be next week. It is amazing that I've been doing this for 50 different episodes. So there's about one a week. There's some weeks where I missed one, just due to some personal things. But, yeah, it's amazing. I'm going to keep going. Because I can't help it, so I used to listen to, the reason I kind of got into all this, I kind of go a little background here for the new listeners, is I've listened to, I don't listen to music, very often in the car when I'm driving by myself. If I'm with, family or, kids or, wife, she doesn't like listening to talk radio so much, but I've always listened to talk radio, and I've done, I've listened to, a whole bunch of different people, Rush, especially, God bless him, man. Sure miss Rush Limbaugh. So yeah, kind of, growing up, or when I was listening to a lot in college and stuff, it was, Rush Limbaugh, Pat Gray, Glenn Beck, occasionally Sean Hannity. He just didn't say it as well as Rush. He said the same kind of stuff, just as not as good. And then I did listen to Michael Savage for a little bit. I don't even know if Michael Savage is on the air anymore, but he was an interesting fellow to listen to. But yeah, that's what I would do. Going to college, walking around different classes, driving around those. That was a pretty awesome day if I could fit in all those shows as I was listening. So I got into doing this, and then just with my family, my dad's career choice is in radio, music radio, talk radio. So I've been around radio my whole entire life, and so just the last few years, as things have kind of fallen apart, and the country is not the same country that I thought we were. It's been hijacked. It's been taken over by wokeism, liberalism, and it is just, we're spiraling, and it is, but I do really think, and I have to say, I am positive with the way things have happened in the primaries, just the numbers that Trump got versus the numbers that Biden got. If that carries on to November, I think we'll be in a pretty good shape, because if not, we're in worse trouble than I thought we are. But so I had then decided to do the show because, Rush Limbaugh passed away a number of years ago. I'm not comparing myself to Rush by any stretch of the, in the imagination. But there needs to be more voices. He was the main voice. And I think kind of Trump has taken, Trump doesn't do obviously doesn't do talk radio or doesn't do a radio show. Could you imagine? He's got like 500 court dates to attend to, campaign, and then do a radio show. I don't think so. The thing that Rush always used to joke about was, he can't take the pay cut because people are like, you should run for president. And he always joked around that he couldn't take a pay cut. But so, yeah, I got started doing this podcast because I just couldn't stand it anymore. I can't stand the country that we are in, and I don't want this country to be the one my children and grandchildren grow up in, where we can't define what a woman is. We have we've got millions and millions of illegals pouring across our border with drugs, gangs, violence, death, destruction. Where our kids are taught that this country is evil, this country is bad. We're not perfect, but name a country that is perfect and has done everything exactly the right way, and you'll be waiting a long time to find that country because it doesn't exist. The only place that I can think of that actually did that is if you look in the Bible in the city of Enoch when it was taken from the earth. But that's the only place that's ever been 100% perfect. So the United States does have some awful past, but it was done by people who are no longer here to people who are no longer here. So let's move on. Let's move forward. And nothing that had happened in 100 years ago, 200 years ago happened to anybody who is living today. So let's deal with the issues today, where a man is a man, a woman is a woman, period, end of story. Because it's just insane. It is just an insane thing. I mean, there's one thing after another. Christianity, especially right now, is severely under attack. And it's just, that isn't the country that was founded. Granted, I mean, they weren't perfect either, but they were darn good men. Though our founding fathers were darn good men, and they set up a system that, if we can keep it, has brought already and will continue to bring millions of people freedom. Because our freedoms and our rights don't come from Washington, D.C. They don't come from some capital. They don't come from some government. They come from God, and that is what our founding fathers understood, is that our freedoms and our rights come from Him. They do not come from some form of government, some king, some president, some prime minister, nor some magistrate. They don't come from them at all. They come from God Himself. That is where they come from. So, that's kind of a long intro here. But, yes. So that is why I'm doing this, and we'll continue to do it until I am canceled. Even then, I will still do this, and if I can only reach one or two people, so be it. Because as we have learned, we celebrated Easter, the Christian world celebrated Easter, the resurrection of our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, and He taught us that. I'm watching, me and my wife, we have mentioned this before, but we watched The Chosen. It is a fantastic series. It is an amazing series. It puts Jesus in a light that is, I don't want to say human, because he was, he's the Son of God. So, he is God. But it puts it in a very, like, He is our friend. And He is one that actually really cares. So it's done really well. So anyway, but He taught that great will be our joy if we can bring but one soul into the kingdom of God. And if I'm only going to reach one or two people, and it'll change to where they understand and they can feel pride and feel proud to be an American, because being an American is to be proud. We should be proud of where we came from. I've been driving around. I've been thinking a lot here. When we started this, when they started this country, they were, doing horses and buggies. Dinosaur bones hadn't been discovered yet. George Washington didn't know that there were dinosaurs. So their bones hadn't been dug up until after he was already dead. So he grew up not knowing about dinosaurs. And, they had horses and buggies. They had, ships. Their technology was great, I guess, for the time. But since the foundation of this country, we have exploded technologically. And why is that? Is because I do believe that is because we were blessed by God, because we gave him a place where religious freedom and the right to choose if we want to follow him or not. And we did for a very, very long time. We did for the most part, I would say, the right thing. There, obviously there were some things that we shouldn't have done that we did. But again, it was done by people who are long dead to people that are long dead. So, and we all benefit from it. I mean, I'm doing this show right here, right now, over a microphone and a computer, and it's going to be sent out all over the world on what is called the internet, which was invented and discovered here by America. And what an amazing accomplishment. We have sent people to the moon. We have put people on another celestial body out in the cosmos. There is no other place on the world that has ever done that. I mean, sure, with the Russians, they came sort of close. Then they won a lot of firsts. First man, first spacewalk and all that kind of stuff. But the United States put people on the moon. Now, I know there's a big conspiracy like, oh, well, we didn't put people on the moon. It was done on a stage. So with that, I highly believe we went to the moon, because if you look at the technology, the studio technology back in the 60s, it would not have been able to do that, because if you look at Star Wars, which was done 10 years later, just about, they were struggling to come up with the special effects that they had in Star Wars. So, no, sorry. In the 60s, there wasn't the capability of us putting together something like that, with our cinema technology. And it is unfortunate that we have not been backed at, but you can blame wokeism, liberalism for that kind of stuff, because they were like, oh well, we have problems here. Why are we sending everybody there and wasting money? Oh, I don't know. There's so many. I mean, this isn't the episode for this, but there is maybe I'll do that in another time. But there is so much technology and advancement that came because of the space race. It's just incredible. I'll do that in another show. But so America is not perfect, but America is great. And hopefully, you see all over the news, people are waking up to the realization that liberalism and their wokeism policies and what the Democrats have done to this country is not what is hurting us in a severe way. I mean, with the open borders, with the drugs, with the crime, with everything that is just perfectly fine in Democrats' eyes to destroy, and I think it is just to beat people down and to cause chaos, so that we run to them and be like, oh, protect us. And so we give away more and more of our rights, more and more of our freedoms, and then they can pick and choose what the crap they want to do to us. But there it is. There's the intro. So let's get into some sports here, and then I'll get into the wonderful things that happened over the weekend. Hopefully you had a great Easter. It was nice. It was a beautiful day here in the DFW area. Also, speaking of beautiful days, it was a beautiful day here today. But there's an eclipse here, or that's going to pass over a total. The total eclipse is going to come over here. And the other thing that is just so irritating is that I've been watching the news at work, the morning, the local news. And they cannot predict what it's going to be like on Monday when this total eclipse is going to happen. How the crap do these experts supposedly pick what is going to happen to the planet in 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 years from now with this global warming garbage? If you can't predict what it's going to be like on Monday, a week from when they were starting this whole thing, trying to figure out what the weather is going to be like for the eclipse, because there's a ton of people, I guess, coming to DFW. How the crap do you expect to predict the weather in 5-10 years from now when you can't get the weather right a week from now? It's insane. Everybody knows it's a big hoax, and it's all about money, because if they don't produce, so-called results, then they don't continue to get money. But that's another topic too. So let's get into sports here. NCAA Final Four is going to be happening Saturday. NC State, Purdue, Alabama, UConn. If you did a bracket and yours is better than mine, congratulations. Mine is still probably, I did a little over a dozen of them for the men's side. Women's side, I think a little bit better. But yeah, my brackets are all busted all to pieces and kind of sucks. But yeah. Oh, and speaking of that, there's some controversy that happened during the women's side of things when Iowa again played LSU. You know, they played each other earlier this year, and you know, there was a big fight. I don't think they like each other very much, but the whole LSU team did not participate in the national anthem. They left the court. And their excuse was, you know, the coach's excuse was, well, we have a routine, and we didn't even know that they were doing the national anthem. Really? Come on. So the governor of Louisiana has said that if you're not going to participate in the national anthem, then your scholarship might be pulled, and you know things are going to happen to you. So you need to do that. You know, because it's just ridiculous that these people don't participate in the national anthem. That's what drove me away from the NFL for many years. When Kaepernick started kneeling, and I am a 49er fan, so I hate that he was on our team. But when that started happening and they were kneeling and it was just politics and everything was about racism, and that they played the stupid, what is it called, the Black National Anthem in the Super Bowl. I mean, come on. We have one national anthem, and it's for everybody. It doesn't matter what color you are. It doesn't matter what creed you are. It doesn't matter what religion you are. It's one national anthem for all Americans. So, LSU lost the game. So, congratulations. I thought that was very nice. Very nicely done. But, yeah, so LSU lost the game, so Iowa is moving on. And so it is, in their Final Four, it is NC State. Both NC States. Wouldn't that be kind of fun if NC State both advanced? South Carolina, UConn, and then Iowa. I don't remember who I picked to win that one, but I think maybe it was South Carolina. Maybe that's the men's. I don't know. Whatever it is, all my brackets are awful. So March Madness that happens Saturday for men, and then Friday, I guess, for the women. And then opening day for baseball was here, and it was a crappy weekend for Astros baseball. We got swept by the stupid Yankees. So if you're a Yankees fan, congratulations. You swept us at home, but I'll take the sweep in the ALCS a couple years ago over that. So congratulations. But yeah, so the Astros are 1-5, just awful. They were up 1-0 in the top of the ninth with 2 outs, and Josh Hader, our new closer, I forget where he's from, gave up a 2-run bomb, and they lost the game 2-1. So it was just awful. So they're 1-5. That's fantastic. But yeah, they're playing the Blue Jays again tonight. So hopefully they can salvage this series and be the first series win and be 2-5 going into the rest day on tomorrow. So that's the sports. Masters is coming up, though. That's pretty cool. I love watching the Masters. I would love to go to the Masters. That would be amazing. That course looks absolutely beautiful and fantastic, but maybe one day. So, yeah, that's coming up here in the next couple weeks. And then if you're wondering about the NBA or NHL, I do not really get into that. I've never gotten into hockey. And the NBA, I don't really like it very much. It's just, they flop all over the place. There's no defense. And you've got their king is LeBron. So, there you go. So let's get into the meat. We've got the horrendous stuff that happened at the White House and over Easter, over this weekend. And then you've got the Trump's reaction. You've got more Trump stuff. You've got just horrendous things going on with criminals, and how Democrats just seem to protect. They are so lax and protect criminals, and then Americans suffer for it. So there's all that, and then I want to get into a little bit of, because I mentioned I do listen to talk radio. So one of the shows I listened to was the Pat Gray with the Blaze on Friday, and they went into JFK, and so I watched the whole conspiracy that he was murdered by our own government, and all the evidence points to that. And so then me and my wife, she's huge. She was huge into JFK, just got all into it, and was, I guess, a bit obsessed over it. We did go to Daily Plaza a number of years ago. And so, yeah, we'll get into all that, and I'll get into that story. But first, let's get into all of what happened over the weekend here. So Biden declared on social media, and then went back on. He's like, oh, well, I didn't say it was Trans Visibility Day, but he did. So today he tweeted out, or X'd out, today on Transgender Day of Visibility. This is Easter, by the way, Easter. I have a simple message to all the trans Americans. I see you. Okay. And then this part is just super irritating here, but he says, you are made in the image of God and worthy of respect and dignity. So sure, the last part, absolutely. Everybody deserves dignity. Everybody deserves respect. But the first part there, this devout Catholic, he always says he was called out by a D.C. cardinal saying he's a cafeteria Catholic. He picks and chooses what he wants to adhere to, and then the rest of it, he just kind of throws it away. But God doesn't create trans people. He's never created it. In Genesis, it says God created man, and I did a video on this earlier this week. But God created male and female. End of story. That is it. God created a man, and he created a woman. There was no trans. There was no non-binary. There was no all this other nonsense that is out there. He created only two genders, male and female. That's it. End of story. So it's just, and then the White House excuse was that, KJP gets out there and says that, well, you know what? Trans Visibility Day, we've been celebrating that, and that's always ended up on March 31st. And you know what? Easter is the one that moves around. Easter is the one that changes days. So, that's not our fault. Oh, okay. So in Christianity's most sacred holiday, that is what you're going to do. You're not going to be like, you know what? We're not going to celebrate it this year. They had to make a big deal. I mean, I was kind of watching over the tweets there, or the X's, and they actually did tweet out about Easter first, and then they did, all of them did the whole Trans Visibility Day. Gavin Newsom produced a video, and, everybody did the whole thing that it's Trans Visibility Day. No, sorry, it is Easter. End of story. That is it. It is Easter. It's not Mental Illness Day. But Trump put out a statement, of course, because of it. So he said, statement from Trump campaign on Joe Biden's blasphemous declaration of Trans Visibility Day on Easter Sunday. And this isn't the only thing that happened Easter Sunday either. So he said, it is appalling and insulting that Joe Biden's White House prohibited children, this is the other thing that happened too, prohibited children from submitting religious egg designs for their Easter art event, and formally proclaimed Easter Sunday as Trans Day of Visibility. Sadly, these are just two more examples of Biden's administration years-long assault on the Christian faith. We call on Joe Biden's failing campaign in the White House to issue an apology to the millions of Catholics and Christians across America who believe tomorrow is for one celebration only, the resurrection of Jesus Christ. Plain and simple. Absolutely. Easter is not a day to celebrate your mental illness. No, sorry. No, it is not. Easter, I mean, and the whole, you can't submit a religious artwork for your eggs on Easter? Sorry, Easter is not about some dumb bunny and some eggs that he hides creepily in your yard. No, that is not what Easter is about. Easter is about redemption. Easter is about the resurrection of our Lord. That is what Easter is about. It's not about some carrots. It's not about some candy. It's not about that awful grass stuff that's in the kids' baskets that seem to get everywhere. And it stays all year round in your house, all over the place. That plastic grass stuff. That's not what Easter is. That's not what Easter is about. It's not about any of that nonsense. I don't know what the heck eggs and a bunny has to do with Easter. I don't know. I mean, because bunnies don't lay eggs. They are mammals, and they give birth to live animals. They don't give birth to eggs. They're not, they're not a duck-billed platypus or anything like that. I don't understand where the bunny and the egg kind of made up Easter. I don't understand that part, and why he hides them. I don't know. I'll have to look. I guess I'll have to look into that and why that is. But no, yeah. And so Easter is about Jesus and his resurrection. And the whole reason that he came to this earth in the first place was to do that, his atonement. All the other stuff was to prove who he was. All the miracles, the calling of the apostles, that was to establish his church. And all that other stuff was to prove who he was. And then his whole reason for coming here was to redeem the world from our sins and make it possible so that we can all return back to God through his atonement. That is the whole reason he came here. The feeding of the 5,000, the turning the water to wine, the feeding of the 10,000, the walking on the water, the healing of the sick, the afflicted. Those were all acts to prove that he was, in fact, the Lord Jesus Christ, and that through his authority, which he later gave to the apostles so they could go do these things, that is, the whole reason he came here was because of that, to do the atonement, to make it possible so we're not all damned to hell, that we could return back to him and God. That is the whole thing, and we celebrate that every year. That is what Easter is, and it is just absolutely despicable that they decided to do this. It's just one thing after another with these people, because this would never, ever, ever, ever happen if it was some sacred Muslim day or if it was some sacred other religious day. There's no way that would ever happen at all. I mean, just could you imagine if he had done this? I mean, there's already enough chaos and unrest with what's going on with Israel and Palestine. And he's already getting attacked, and they can't really announce where he's going because there's going to be protesters that are pro-Palestinian. Palestinian. Could you imagine if he did? Oh, yeah. I don't know what the most sacred day is for Muslims. Ramadan, I guess. I don't know. But if his White House announced, first of all, they would never do this. Anyway, there's no way they would ever do it because there would be so much rioting and just protesting. It would just be, I mean, there would probably be burnings and all kinds of things, and it'd be just fantastic. It'd be wonderful. But if it's a Christian holiday, sure. If it's something that has to do with Christianity, sure. Go right ahead. Because there was also another incident that happened in New York City where St. Paul's Cathedral. They're doing their Mass. It's Easter Mass. Then a group of pro-Palestinians decided to go into a Catholic church and hold up a sign that, let me get that pulled up here just a second. So a trio of pro-Palestinian protesters was released without bail. Of course, it's New York City, and heaven forbid you actually prosecute because this should be considered a hate crime, right? This should be considered a hate crime by their definition. After being arrested for disrupting an Easter Vigil Mass at St. Patrick's Cathedral by unfurling a banner and shouting, "Free Palestine." Could you imagine if a group of 3 Christians went into a mosque and held up a sign that says "Stand with Israel" or something like that, or whatever? Could you imagine? They wouldn't be heard from again, let alone released after being arrested without bail. And then it goes on to give who they are. But their little sign said, there's a picture of it. It says, "Silence equals death." And for a minute there before they were escorted out. So yeah, it's okay to sit there and interrupt Catholic's Mass. It's okay to call out the Christians' most sacred holiday and say it's some trans visibility day, some nonsense like that. Because let's just kind of, I looked up the list of everything that is celebrated with the LGBTQ plus 7.528. So, all right. So here's the dates throughout a calendar year, starting in February 20th to 26th. Aromatic Spectrum Awareness Week. I don't even know what that is. March is Bisexual Health Awareness Month. So, March 1st is Zero Discrimination Day. March 31st, International Transgender Day of Visibility. April 6th, Asexuality Day, was first celebrated 2 years ago. Oh, great. April 22nd, Day of Silence. April 26th, International Lesbian Visibility Day. May 17th, International Day Against Homophobia, Biphobia, and Transphobia. Oh, gosh. So May 19th is Agender Pride Day. May 22nd, it's Harvey Milk Day. May 24th, Pansexual and Panromantic Visibility Day. And then, of course, the whole month of June is Pride Month, where you have men walking around the streets naked in parades, and that's perfectly fine. And they're whipping each other and, driving down in their trucks and dressing up as animals, being led around on all fours by somebody else. And that's perfectly fine around children. So June 5th is HIV Long-Term Survivor Awareness Day. Oh, congratulations. June 12th is Pulse Remembrance Day. 28th is Stonewall Riots Anniversary, which I don't know what that is. What is a Stonewall? This Sunday, June 28th, will mark the 40th anniversary of the Stonewall Riots, the event largely regarded as the catalyst for the LGBT movement for the civil rights in America. I guess there was a bunch of riots 40 years ago. So this is great. July 6th, Omnisexual Visibility Day. July 11th through 17th, Non-Binary Awareness Week. I'm really surprised they didn't take the 4th of July and make it some whatever day. Take over that day as well. So then you have the 14th of July is International Non-Binary Day. The 16th is International Drag Day. Get this. August 14th, Gay Uncle Day. So if you have a gay uncle and you want to celebrate it with him, go over to his house and celebrate it. September 16th to the 22nd is Bisexual Awareness Week. September 23rd is Bisexual Visibility Day. Why do they need like 5 visibility days, or like what, or 5? There's probably like 10 or 30. October, my birth month. That's awesome. Is LGBT History Month. That's awesome. The 11th of October is National Coming Out Day. The 20th is International Pronoun Day. Oh, man. All right. And then you've got the 21st is Spirit Day. October 24th is Asexual Awareness Day. 26th is Intersex Awareness Day. Oh, boy, we got another awareness month. So November, I didn't know this, all of November is Trans Awareness Month. Just in case you're not aware that there are people that think that they can change genders, it is the whole month of November. Great. So instead of celebrating Thanksgiving, you can celebrate this instead. November 6th is Transgender Parent Day. November 8th is Intersex Day of Remembrance. Remembering what? November 13th through the 19th is Trans Awareness Week. I thought we were already supposed to know that it was Trans Awareness Month. So now we need a week within that month. And then the 20th is Transgender Day of Remembrance. Oh my gosh. So, okay. And then you have December 1st is World AIDS Day. So don't forget that while you're putting up your Christmas tree. December 8th is Pansexual Pride Day. And then December 10th, to finally knock it all out, is Human Rights Day. Okay. So there you go. There's your whole entire list. So if you want this, I'll share this just in case, you want to celebrate all of these holidays and all of these awareness days, and put them on your calendar. So I can share that with you guys. And, like me, I'm going to celebrate all this. But, yeah. Oh my gosh. So that's just awesome. Isn't that awesome? That's just congratulations, America. But it didn't stop there. Unfortunately, it did not stop there. So, because the Biden administration banned religious-themed designs because it's an attack on Christianity. They're attacking Christianity here. It's not, that's just what it is. Tommy Tuberville tweeted out because the Democrats are a satanic cult. He's not wrong. He is not wrong. That's why I'm doing this podcast, so more people will hear it. There will possibility of getting it out and getting people to understand things better. But this is what our lovely President Pooped His Pants, had to say on Easter during the egg hunt, for the non-religious eggs.
Just a minute. Thank you all so very, very much. Thanks, everybody. And by the way, say hello to oyster bunnies. Come on up, bunnies. Get up here so they can see you. Come on, get in there.
So they're not Easter bunnies anymore, I guess. They're called oyster bunnies. So we'll get to celebrate that too, is oyster bunnies. Just awful. Just freaking awful. So Trump then vowed after all that in a speech that they were going to make November 5th a Christian Day of Visibility. I hope so. We need everybody out there to wake up. I think the issue with a lot of things is that normal people, common sense people just want to go to work. They want to come home to their families, and they want to, watch some Netflix, watch some movies, just live their life and be left alone. But I think gone are those days where you can't just sit by idly and not participate, not do anything. Hence, I'm doing this podcast because I can't stand it anymore. And I have to let it out. I have to, I don't know, the thing that's coming to my mind is warn those that are not awake yet. If you're not awake yet, you must just be like a billionaire, because for everybody else, me and my wife have gone over our bills, and our electric, our gas, our water bill have just skyrocketed with this doofus face in the White House. So we have to have a red wave for real come November. It can't be this is little bloop thing that happened 2 years ago, where we thought, oh, okay, here we go, red wave coming, and we're going to blow through, and we're going to elect a whole bunch of Republicans because we're sick and tired of the 2 years that have happened. So at to that point with Biden, but there were chants in Chicago, in one of their town hall meetings, or where a bunch of people were sitting there screaming out, just chanting, singing, "No more red," or "No more blue," "Red no matter who." Very catchy, these little songs. I think it's so funny how these people come up with. I mean, especially the ones on the left are so obnoxious and so stupid. But anyway, because Governor Abbott is shipping illegals across the country to these sanctuary cities, these sanctuary states, and the people up there are realizing, hey, there is a problem, and we need to deal with it, and we need to fix it. Texas would continue to build a wall with barbed wire and just everything, because it is so just out of control. It is so absolutely out of control. Another story here, and then I'll get into this military industrial complex thing, is there was an NYPD officer who was killed during the line of duty. He just a routine traffic stop. He pulled over because this car was just happened to be sitting in at a bus stop, and him and his partner got out, and they went up to this car. It took him a little bit to Jonathan Diller, who was shot by this career criminal, and they held his funeral over the weekend. So what had happened is Jonathan Diller, 31, was shot and killed during a routine traffic stop in Far Rockaway, Queens on March 25th, 2024. The suspect, Guy Rivera, allegedly opened fire on Diller on Monday evening after the cop approached the vehicle Rivera was in for parking in front of a bus stop. Diller was shot once in the stomach below his bulletproof vest, the married father of a 1-year-old boy. This kid is going to have to grow up without his father because of the lax laws and just the career criminals that are being allowed in this country, especially the blue cities. Was rushed to Jamaica Hospital, where he was later pronounced dead. Rivera was wounded by Diller's partner returning fire. The suspect was 20. This is just incredible. It makes me so angry. 21 prior arrests where he was found to have a shiv stored in his rectum during the shooting in apparent anticipation of being sent to jail again. So, I read that and I was just like, dang it, why couldn't that thing have done its job prior to his parking? Having a knife stored up your butt. It's just Lindy Jones. So there's two people in the car. Lindy Jones, the ex-con behind the wheel of the car during the shooting, was also arrested after a second gun was found in his car. It's just Mayor Eric Adams has renewed his calls for Albany to address criminal I don't know what that word is. Anyway, following the shooting involving Kathy Hochul, who is the governor of New York, went to this guy's wake, went to his funeral. And as the story goes, she got there. The family didn't want her there at all. Trump went to the wake. He went there and he visited with them. And then funny enough that Obama, Biden, and Clinton were all there, not too far away from where this guy's wake was, Officer Diller's wake. And you know what they decided to do? Instead of going over there, they decided, you know what, we're going to go with Lizzo and Stephen Colbert, and we're going to go to this fundraiser and raise $25 million and not go to this poor officer's wake. It's just another example that they don't give a crap about us. They really don't. They don't give a crap about America. In fact, they quite frankly hate America and what it stands for. But Trump went there, and Kathy Hochul, she had some guts going there, but didn't have the expected welcome that I guess she was expecting, because the police officers, I think the union or whoever said that, yeah, you probably shouldn't go to this, but she was like, screw you, I'm going to go anyway. So she went there, and the family was like, no, you need to get out of here, leave. So she left. She went into the building there, and then was asked to leave. So she went outside, and then there was another family member basically outside saying, this is all your fault. His blood is on your hands. And she then got in her car like a coward and left. So this is the Democrats. This is who, if you want change, if you want hope, if you want things to get better, stop voting these people in. Stop it. Enough. So it's just, but this is Biden's America, everybody. This is Biden's America, where criminals are just let out without bail, or just, it doesn't matter what they do. You can go into a cathedral and disrupt mass and nothing happens. You can beat up NYPD officers and then nothing, released and give the finger to the press as you walk out. You can go into any place. The big thing right now is that they're squatting in people's properties. And the people who own these properties are having a difficult time getting them out. And, everything is paid for by the taxpayers of insert your local city and state. It's lovely. It's a lovely time. So let's change this. So in the beginning of the show here, I mentioned that I listened about JFK. And I had been down to Daily Plaza. We went down there a number of years ago. And the whole story with that is I had no idea how massive the conspiracy was, and how just, because I figured, I don't know, it was like the high end people of the CIA. Kennedy didn't do what they wanted him to. And it was going to cost them a whole bunch of money, and just they organized it and killed him. But just the details of everything that went on is astounding. I had no idea all the detail. Either I was never taught them in school, or just it wasn't something that I picked up. But I had no idea the massive amount of the scale and the magnitude of what happened. And it's just, and Dwight D. Eisenhower, the president, I believe he was the president prior, warned us about what he called the military-industrial complex, the thing that has been going on since Kennedy was assassinated. So this is what President Eisenhower had to say.
Message of leave-taking and farewell. We have been compelled to create a permanent armaments industry of vast proportions. In the councils of government, we must guard against the acquisition of unwarranted influence, whether sought or unsought, by the military-industrial complex. Our military organization today bears little relation to that known of any of my predecessors in peacetime, or indeed by the fighting men of World War II. The potential for the disastrous rise of misplaced power exists and will persist.
So he's the guy, he was the supreme commander over the Allied forces in World War II, obviously. Hopefully you know your history and you know who Dwight D. Eisenhower is. Hopefully you know that. So he warned, that was his farewell address. He warned us that was going to happen if we weren't vigilant. And that's what Kennedy, he's not an angel. I'm not saying he was an angel by any means. But that's what he was fighting against, because the powers and the defense contracts and all those things, they were about to lose whole tons of money, millions. At the end, so me and my wife, we watched JFK, and they were going to lose hundreds of millions of dollars back then in the 60s, which would translate to, so what was spent in that war was about 220 billion dollars. In about 1975, that's worth $1.1 trillion today. So that's the money that we're talking about. And so they didn't want that. He wanted everybody out of Vietnam in 65. So they came up with this coup d'etat, and they had him killed. So the thing, the one thing, with that, it's just incredible. And it has been going on ever since. There were, let's see, 2 million Asians' lives lost. Our Americans, 58,000. I mentioned the $220 billion that was spent, which is 1.1 trillion in today's money. 10 million Americans airlifted by commercial jets. More than 5,000 helicopters were lost, and 6.5 million tons of bombs dropped. And all that is money. All that is dollars. And all of that makes money. And, it's just astounding that that's just what happened, and that's where we are today. Where, we had that 20-year-long war in Afghanistan and Iraq and everything, and then as soon as we pull out, it's just gone. The Taliban have completely taken over. They're threatening their amazing, ever-inclusive Sharia law, where if women get out of place, they're going to start stoning them again. So, I looked up the numbers for what we spent in Iraq and Afghanistan, and it is just astounding. So, we have to be vigilant with our, we have to be vigilant with what's going on. We have to be aware of what is going on. I mean, that was one of the reasons I did not like Nikki Haley, because she wants to continue this war in Iraq. There you go. There's a Bidenism for you. Oh, Iraq. But, she wanted to continue the war in Ukraine. Why? Why are we sending hundreds of billions of dollars to this country that has to secure their border? By the way, the whole reason we're sending that money is to secure their border. Meanwhile, ours is as open as the front door is. Hundreds of billions of dollars sent to this foreign country that probably nobody really knows where the crap it is. If you were asked that, probably the average person, where is Ukraine? It'd be somewhere over in Europe, somewhere. They couldn't probably point it out on a map. But that this military-industrial complex has set in since Kennedy was assassinated. And I think we spent $1 trillion, $2 trillion in the war in Iraq and Afghanistan. And now that we've gone and we've left, it's for what? Back to, after 9/11, I think everybody was like, hey, yeah, let's go kick their trash. Let's just bomb the crap out of them. Doesn't matter. We want to get the ones who were responsible for 9/11, and rightfully so. If we're attacked, we should go attack, and then we shouldn't do this whole like liberal way of fighting it. We just go in there, do the job, come home. What Israel is trying to do with Hamas, they are, just the amount of patience that Israel has for the rest of these stupid idiots out there that are saying, oh, well, you need to do this, you need to do that. I mean, they're announcing where they're going to drop their bombs, when they're going to drop their bombs, what they're going to do, pretty much. I mean, that's, it's just, anyway, so if you're attacked, you absolutely should defend yourself, 100%. And it's just, this military-industrial complex has set in, and we're spending there's tons of money in it. But I'm tired of wars. I'm tired of sending money and troops to foreign countries to fight their problems. Sorry. We can help out a little bit. And I've said this many times before on this show. But we can help a little bit, but we can't be the ones footing the entire bill for your war. That is your job. If Zelensky wants to be free, then fight. That's not our job. It's not our border. It's not our country. It is thousands of miles away from here. We have our own problems that we need to fix first, and then we can probably help you out. But this is the world we live in right now. But yeah, I don't want to support other people's wars anymore. I'm just done supporting their wars, sending our billions of dollars, and with aid, with anything. It's just, if you have the problem, you fight it. That's what we did. And we asked France for some help. And then we were like, all right, thank you. We're going to mind our own business now. And, France came asking for help and for military aid. And we said no. Washington said no. Sorry, we're not going to get involved in Europeans' wars. We're not going to do it. Neither should we today, quite frankly. We shouldn't be involved in other people's wars that are thousands of miles away. I am, back 20 years ago, I was, sounding a different horn back then. But today, no. We don't have the cash. We don't have the money. I just saw an article that our oil reserves are so low because the Biden administration has depleted them because they are fighting against the American energy industry so badly that they had to go into our emergency reserves and drain it. And now it's going to cost way too much to refill it. Trump wanted to do that, and they told him no. Congress told him no. Trump was like, hey, gas is like whatever it was back then, and they said no. And now that we're kind of screwed over, and Biden has screwed us over because he shut down the Keystone Pipeline day one, opened up the borders day one. Now gas is, it's where I'm at. It's over $3. If you're in California or you're in some blue state that has much higher taxes and regulations, I know you're suffering way more than we are with $5-6 a gallon. I couldn't imagine. I don't know how people do it. I don't know how you do it. It's just insane. So we have to wake up. We have to realize that these people are not our friends. They don't really have the best interests in our best interest in mind. Because, look at what they did. Look at what they did, and look at what they're doing. This war in Ukraine should have been over a year ago. If you watched the Tucker Carlson interview with Vladimir Putin, he said, yeah, I want to sit down and have some peace talks. But Boris Johnson, who used to be the prime minister or whatever they call him over there in England, he got in the way and told him no. Probably because there's money to be made. There's money to be made in war. Eisenhower warned us, tried to warn us. And that was in the days before Americans realized the media isn't going to tell you the truth, because they're in it for money too. I mean, it's blatantly obvious that these things happen because of money. And I was talking to my dad on Easter about, the whole JFK thing, and I was just sitting there thinking, it's just sad. Everybody's dead now. So what happened 60 years ago? What does it matter? I mean, what does it matter what happened to, they don't have the money anymore. It doesn't go with you. Your power, your influence, your money, your possessions, none of it goes with you after your time card is punched. It doesn't. The only thing that goes with you is your relationships with your family members, your friends, and God. That is the only thing that you can carry with you after you die. All this stuff that's here stays here. So, I mean, how worth it was it? I like to sit down and ask all those that were involved with JFK, be like, hey, was all this worth it? When they got to the other side and they saw him, I bet they were like, oh, whoops, sorry. But that could be said about any of the things that we do that are contrary to the God's will. But any of our sins, is any of it worth it? And the answer is always no, because the stuff that we care so much about doesn't really matter that much. All the material stuff I'm talking about, it doesn't matter because you can't take it with you. But yeah, good stuff. Good stuff here in the United States right now. But hopefully you've enjoyed the show. This was a little long today, but there's a lot to cover. There's still more that we could talk about on this lovely Wednesday. Hopefully you have a great week. Well, let's end with the words. So Trump was in Wisconsin or Michigan. I believe it was Michigan. No, Wisconsin, excuse me. And this is what he had to say. I believe it was last night. And here it is.
We have an empty podium right here to my right. You know what that is? That's for Joe Biden. I'm trying to get him to debate. I'm calling on Crooked Joe to debate anytime, any place. We'll do it anywhere you want, Joe.
There you go. I doubt it's going to happen because Biden wouldn't be able to handle it because it's not going to be scripted. He's not going to have cards to say that know what exactly Trump's going to say. There's another report that I saw where an ESPN lady who did an interview with Biden, said it was all scripted. Everything was scripted, and they went over it many times with producers. And she couldn't deviate, otherwise she would be in trouble. And now she's coming out now saying that everything that the interview that she went with, she was from ESPN, was all scripted and all fake. So if you want some change, vote red. No matter who. Like the great people in Chicago are finally waking up. Vote red, no matter who. So if you like this, please like the show. Please like, subscribe, follow, and share. That would be great. Again, I'm all over any platform. So however you found me, that is awesome. Thank you very much. And hopefully you have a great week. So please check out my other social sites there. Cade and Eric Show on Facebook, X, TikTok, YouTube, and Truth Social. And hopefully you have a great week. And I will talk with you next time. Bye-bye.